I mean, they
Henry Kissinger decided that.
yeah. Yeah, they keep coming up with all these super germs.
Smack.
Yeah, this,
Bam. I greet you in the words of Assalamu alaikum, which means peace and blessings be upon you. And I mention both Jesus and Muhammad's names. Peace be upon them both. They were both messages of truth and reality. You're looking at the Underground Railroad. Me and Alderman Jones come on every Saturday night at 10:30. We come on Comcast, AT&T, and Wild Television. Check your local television listings. That sounds like a commercial. I want to say hi to the people in the United States, Central America, Canada, Europe, Asia, Africa, in the UK. And I'm leaving somebody out.
European. Europe.
In Europe. You got my back. Okay.
for sure.
So I want to let my co-host introduce herself, and my mentor is sitting over here, so I'm going to let them introduce themselves quick.
But I'm the former alderman of the 15th Ward and Ward Committeeman of the 15th Ward, which was in Marquette Park. I was the first black to hold both positions.
Well, my name is Kofi Malik, and part of the reason I'm here is because of Speak On It, which is a cable Chicago Access program that's been in the mix for a minute. And thank you, you and the Alderman, for allowing me to be here with you all tonight. It's an honor, and I'm truly honored.
Let me tell you something about Dr. Malik Kufian and about Dr. Boise Edwards. All I had to do is pick the telephone up, and you know what? Again, I admit, when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm going to say the word hell. I didn't know what the H-E-L-L I was doing. And as many times I used to call him up. He said, be yourself. Be yourself. And I took some pointers from him and let you know I appreciate you for that. Okay? And please, brother, tell us about your show. And then we go on to some other subject matters. Tell us about your show and the direction that you're going in the future.
Well, Speak On It, grew out of You Are the Power back in the day. Ms. Bowden, Jose, and some others, they was producers here, and as we evolved, it is what it is. It became Speak On It, and it's still here. But we had Speak On It, You Are the Power, True That, Real Talk, and now we're getting ready to go off into options and opinions. And I think for me, options and opinion, which is really a salute to a great elder, Lou Palmer, God rest his soul, that used to do Lou's Notebook. And what we want to do is do these mini shows, 2 to 3 minute commentaries that hopefully cable will air at least once a day, where we take issues or concepts and we look at options and opinions. Because everybody got an opinion. And it don't mean that everybody's opinion stink. It don't mean that everybody's opinion is irrelevant. But what we really want to do is from the opinions come up with an option. And the option hopefully will produce a plan of action or solution to some of the problems we keep talking about.
So when you say that, are you going to be going on the streets, filming off location, and just getting the average individual's opinion and option, not giving yours?
Sometime we have Brother Tucker and others to go out and talk to people and ask them, what is your opinion? What are the options? But initially, it will be a studio type production because we need to develop it. And I don't just want to run in the streets and the next thing you know, you got a bunch of cranks discrediting everything you're trying to do. But once we get it dealt with the way we want to do it, then we definitely going to take it on the road.
You're not doing away with the hour live show?
No, we would do that periodically. We'll probably do it, now we do about 6 a year, but we'll probably, still do about the same amount, But in between times, we'll have options and opinions.
Okay.
Well, one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that you have to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
A plan of what people need to know
Mm-hmm.
and what they need to do.
That's right.
And you can't always get that sitting in a room like this.
That's true.
You have to be in contact with the people.
Mhm.
How do you feel about that?
Mm-hmm. That's so true, and that's one of the things that we were looking for, and that's how we started. We actually started doing a whole bunch of work on the street. But what happens is that as you go, and as you get caught up, even now, I have very little tolerance, really, for live shows. Because what happens is too many people call in and they waste your time with their BS. And at this point, maybe it's because of elderhood, at this point, I don't want to waste my time, my life, with a live show that gives somebody else the opportunity to play stupid games. So now I want to use my energy mostly to pre-record it. And that way you at least get your message out versus being bothered with somebody else's game plan and challenges. I don't have time for that. There's 1,440 minutes in a day. When you get to be my age, every one of those minutes count because I don't have a rollover plan. When this is up, it's up. So now we have to use our time very strategically. And I think options and opinions is probably the way I'm going out.
I would like to know if you could share with the listening audience. You've been coming on television a long time.
Mm-hmm.
What inspired you to start your show? When did you start it? And how did you meet your co-host?
Well,
I mean, your partner, Brother Boise Edwards. A lot of people don't know that.
It's a good question. The boys and I work together in the Harold Washington program, the Chicago Intervention Network. And we started because it was school related, street related, and youth related. So because Mr. Jose and Ms. Bowden and Chicago Access, we bumped into this. And we've been doing it, and we've evolved. But the real reason is because some of the stuff we was doing in schools, we wanted the community to see that. So we began to try to figure out how could we bring what we was doing into the public side. But the original idea that I had with the whole TV thing was the ministry piece. I'm from a long line of preachers. I was a preacher before I was all this other stuff.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Everybody.
What denomination you don't mind me
We
asking?
Baptists. I mean, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my brother, my uncle, my daddy, everybody was a preacher, you know what I'm saying? So, of course, that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to be bothered with all of that congregational thing. So we wanted to use this as a ministry. But what happened is we ended up doing what? Social commentary. I have no regrets with that because social commentary can still be a ministry. And I think we have probably served as many, if not more people, as we would have standing up in a church behind a pulpit. So it's back to what the alderman said. Sometimes you got to go out. And we didn't want to do the traditional thing, but I didn't want to be standing up hooping and hollering, although every now and then I do feel the need to go on back down home and get in the country and find me one of them churches where you hoop and holler.
Okay, I'm going to follow up, but go ahead.
Well, I can tell you, on 67th in California is a statue. And that statue helped when I got involved in this to bring out the truth about the Marquette Park area.
Okay.
And without that, it would have never happened.
Yeah. Chicago Access is one of the greatest things that could ever have happened for Negroes, whether they're in Chicago or wherever on the planet. One of the best things for the street level Negro, and I say Negro because all these other terms, you know, this is Negro History Month, and I don't want y'all to never forget that right after being a slave, you was a Negro. And when you was a Negro, you was sort of like Willie Wilson.
Yes.
You knew how to take nothing and make something. When you was a Negro, you had farms, you had businesses, you had respect for yourself, but because you became black and Afro and African American, now your kids walk around, even their granddaddies with their britches showing the crack of their behind, and you say it's okay. Everything come out of their mouth is profane, and you say it's okay. So yeah, I'm going to use Negro, because you think the other N word is greater than that. And this is history. And February is the little month that they tell us Negro history, and that's why I salute you all for allowing me to be on here so I can snap. And my snap is this. Anything I got to say today has to do with the history of us. Like you say, Marquette Park. Negroes walking around here, kids walking around here, they don't know. It was yesterday that you can even go over there. It was yesterday that you can even cross State Street, but yet you walk around here thinking you all that. That's history. But it happened in our lifetime. And unless somebody remind us, unless somebody beat the drum and tell them about the Underground Railroad, these new generation people to think that they just fell out of the sky and that they are entitled to life. And they'll forget that people like Malcolm X, Lou Palmer, Martin Luther King, Elijah Muhammad paved the way. So much for that.
You know, Dr. Malik, I'm going back to your show again. Okay. And you know what I'd like to ask you? You're a very strong, spirited black man, and much respect for you. Can you tell me what type of impact did your mother and father have on you growing up to install such pride and dignity in you?
Well, I guess, if you
don't mind.
I don't have no problem. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm going to say it again. This is Black History Month. And I do believe that my age qualifies me to have a little historical root. And this might be one of the best times I ever get an opportunity to share. So I really appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, my grandparents had more of an impact on me than my mother and father. Although, in the end, their impact was great. And one of the things I remember very clearly about my mother, she was a Virgo, and she was a nurse, and she was educated. So she had a different spin on some things, and she really wanted me and my brothers to be real clear. You don't go around apologizing. You don't let people play you. She made that clear. Your word is what you stand on.
Yes, sir.
And that's where I am. My position is, I not care what you see. Old, ignorant, blonde, wig wearing, my generation woman today at the poll, growling at people. So I had to bite her. Now, I didn't want to do that, but my mama taught me to be a man. So you can't just talk to me anyway, even though it ain't personal. You can't just treat me anyway. And if I want to wear this, I don't need white folks to tell me how to dress. And any Negro that ain't comfortable with that, that's on you, because I'm going to do me. And I think that's what you're saying. That's what Speak On It is about. So people say, well, why you be snapping on the guests? Guests come correct, I will be correct. You come incorrect, I'm going to treat you.
I like that.
It is what it is.
You know, I was watching your show one time, and you know what? Now you got my attention. I was just tuning through channel surfing. I said, man, you ignorant. You so ignorant, you could just turn the channel. There's plenty of things to look at. And you know what? I stopped channel surfing. And ever since I did that, man, I've been watching y'all ever since. You got my attention years ago. But go ahead. That was good.
Well, like Dr. Malik said, first of all, it was Malcolm, and this is his date of his death. Malcolm called you an Afro-American. And then after that, then you became an African-American. And then after that, James Brown made you black.
And proud.
All right? Now, he never said you were black and proud. He said, say it loud. Other folks said, I'm black and I'm proud.
Okay.
And then when he finished, one of the things that happened was all of a sudden, you became a person who was made an African American by Jesse. Prior to that, you wasn't.
And I think the root of that, and the reason I keep hopping on it, is that you was a slave. And they used the word, but they didn't describe you that in Spanish, nigger, negro, Spanish for black. But that is not a race of people. Like slave is not a race for people. But at least from slavery to Negro, you could see it. But from all these other words that you just mentioned, to nigger, that is what disturbs me. Now we voluntarily choose to call ourselves nigger. That's my nigger. That's my this. How do we get from Negro to nigger? And how do we get that it's okay for white folks to call us that too? So that shows us that we have a psychosis that's self-destructive. And it's insulting how our young people and the entertainers and the so-called leaders make excuses. Oh, it's just words, it don't mean nothing. It means everything. Because words make people. And what we are doing is remaking ourselves in the image of profanity. I don't know. I would have rather been a Negro than to be a nigger.
Yes, sir.
And that's why I keep saying it, because until we let people know that it's incorrect to go around and speak it, and then they got you now, so the N word. Now it's a hate crime for a Negro to use the word N in public to each other. Get the hell out of here.
Yes, sir. Dr. Malik, I would like to say ask you in my opinion, that people in my generation were how would I put, programmed to believe that white folks' water was colder than black folks' water. We would run home to see the Three Stooges.
Yes.
We would run home to see the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
We would run home to see Happy Days.
Amos and Andy,
And
who was
Amos
who-
and Andy.
who was some white man.
Okay, and we would run home to see Fantasy Island and all this. But we programmed by television, because it seems like we look at so much television to believe that white folks' water is colder than black folks. But I take that in the forms of business.
Well, I think it's part of, you can use the word programming because that's what it is, but I mean, the truth is, your generation is behind me. So you were supposed to be better than me, and what was better than me is that you had TV. We might have had radio, but we daggone sure didn't have no TV where I come from.
That was a Google.
Yeah. So I mean,
Dr. Google.
I mean, you have to understand what happened is that once they allowed us to have those gadgets, it's like the gadgets of today. Those gadgets do program us. And it ain't so much white folk water is colder than black folks' water. It's just that the gadgets white folks got can entertain us. The gadgets white folks got is a help to us. The gadgets the white folks got is a little bit better than that mule that you ride versus that car that they driving. So when we got access to that car, yes, I don't want the mule no more. I don't want the wagon no more. I want the truck. So no, it ain't because white folks' water is better. It's just that once we got hold to their water, bath water or not, it beat the water we had that was muddy. Feel me, brother?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Go ahead. Wow. That was good.
Well, when I was talking about the different groups, then we got down to African. Africa is not a people. Africa is a continent that has 54 countries in it. And they have misled us, all right, into believing that that is a place that has people.
Yeah, and I need to say this in honor of you, brother Alderman Jones. See, one of the things that really got me on this crusade of saying so-called African and rejecting African American is part of what I observe you say over the years. Africanus was a Greek or whatever the hell he was, white man, that they named the whole continent and
After
tribal land
After him.
after. So I will never call myself African nothing,
His
because
own.
that is worse than calling yourself a slave, because that was a man that won a little territory and then they named the whole continent after him, and now you even got people that live over there that are Beninans, Nigerian, Ghanaians, Togolese, And when they want to show you that they don't want to be bothered, they say, well, I'm African. Ain't no such thing as an African.
It was named after a man named Scipius Africanus,
Tell them the truth. Ain't no such thing as no African people.
who was a Roman.
That's true. Obama ain't an African. He's a Kenyan. That's their word, African American. You ignorant. No history knowing colors. You ain't no African nothing. Why would you want to be named after a so-called warlord who won a territory and enslaved your people, and now they call all people that look like you after him?
I heard you call him the goon. The last show we was on, you said he was the goon. I think that was the God of War.
Yeah, Ogun is one of the.
Obama, yes.
Yeah, I say his spirit is that.
One of the
I
seven,
think- and
one of the
I-
seven African spirits.
See, President Obama, you look at him and you think one thing, but don't misread him.
Yes, sir.
We have seen what he will do. All of that mess they had when he came in office, they talking about ISIS now. They ain't talking about none of that stuff they were talking about when he came in there, because he did what? He took care of that.
We're running short, but you know what? I would like to ask you something. Do you think that the children, like my generation was programmed, do you think they programmed by to do violence by playing video games, killing, hurting, and licking it? They say there's more violence in cartoons than it is in video games, and is this to make them more desensitized to being violent and hurting somebody? The little games they play on PlayStation and Xbox and all these cartoons where there's more violence.
No, that stuff is definitely insane. I worked at a DCFS subcontract agency with Wars of the State, and they just be fixated on it. When go to school, they play that garbage all day long. But even more so, the other day, a young man was telling me that his son, first grade, got stabbed in the stomach with a pencil by another little boy about the same age. Twice, not once. Talking about violence. Now, they ain't going near predict that if this little rascal, because the other kid wouldn't give him a sheet of paper, took a pencil and attacked him and stabbed him, did he get that from a cartoon? Did he get that from home? Or was it bred into him? Is he just a bad seed? But to be 6 or 7 years old and stab another kid because you can't have what they got, that is not kids play. That is being a violent person. Now, where did he get it? I don't know,
Video
but
games.
he demonstrated it.
Video games.
Maybe so.
This guy.
Maybe so.
Go ahead, I got to ask
You
you
know,
something about legalization of marijuana.
there was a guy named Lyndon LaRouche,
Okay, I remember that name.
and Lyndon LaRouche talked about all these video games that were allowing our kids to be exposed to, and that they would end up being criminals based on playing those games.
Yeah. Boy, if he stabbed one of my daughter's sons, him, his daddy, his mama, and his dead granddaddy would have been dug up. Because I've taught mine. If a little sucker come at you like that, then it's your responsibility to teach him and his family correctness.
You know, with Illinois and other states, I think like Nevada, they have the legalization of marijuana. And it used to be, it's illegal for the brother to sell it on the corner, which I don't advocate, first of all. But what do you think about your opinion, not my opinion, about the legalization of marijuana?
Well, brother, I think Illinois has already done it. Right now, they just said it's medical.
What's your opinion?
Well, I think the truth is, if they're going to do it, they should make it retroactive, that everybody they put in the joint for a little marijuana back in the day be released. Because it's just like prohibition. Marijuana was all right, and then alcohol became the money thing. So now alcohol is still all right, and marijuana is getting to be back all right, so they can make money. So legalization of marijuana, I think they should do it, because they said they was doing it for medical reasons, and the governor now went along with that now, and everybody on their level anyway, making this money. Now they're talking about recreational. In a minute, it'll be like going to any liquor store. You can just go get your marijuana. And actually, it's not for me to say. But if you're going to use it anyway,
Yeah.
decriminalize it.
Okay.
Let some of those people that are doing 40 and 50 years in different states, let them go. when all they got caught with was a smoking amount of reefer. Let those people go. Then go on and legalize it and let everybody get paid or get high.
Go ahead.
Well, they're legalizing it because they saw that there's money in it.
Yes. And it's like policy. When they saw that there was money in policy, then they legalized it and called it lottery. But now we are not making the money. And that's what was happening with marijuana. Some brothers is beginning to figure out how to make a little bit of money. So what they have done, now them niggas making too much money.
I want to ask you something about contracts. You know, construction contracts in Chicago. A lot of construction contracts go to minority-owned businesses, but once they find out they're not really minority-owned business,
front.
but they're fronted.
Right.
I think Harold Davis went through something like that at WGBX radio station, 1570 AM. What is your opinion? Why are they being allowed to get away with that?
Well, I think it's because it's mutually benefit. Black folk can't get it. I was told by some creature, and you know, Retro Current Team is a vendor, you know. But CPS will say, well, you can do this, you can do that, but you can go through somebody else. I mean, why is it that we are a vendor, been in the business, you say you can go do somebody else? So that's what they do with blacks. They say, well, you can't get the contract, so the blacks accept whatever they can. They become a subcontractor. But it's the white folk or the other folk that get the big money, and you just be a what? A flunky. But it's always been like that. And yeah, people like me and others, sometimes we go for the subcontract in order to be in the game. But it's unfair to us, and it's exploitive of us, but that's how the system is set up. And it is what it is. Either you're going to be the flunky slave for a crumb, or you're going to be hungry and broke. So that's what's happening, brother. And when we ask for the contracts, they ain't going to give us no contract. They talk about Willie Wilson going to get contracts from the governor and from the mayor because he's out here to distract the vote.
Yes.
Get out of here. Get out of here with that foolishness. Maybe he just want to do what? Be elected and be mad. And then again, maybe he is out there doing that to get some contracts. Ain't no more than what these other white folks are doing.
Yes, sir. You know what? We got 2 minutes left, and you know what? It'd be unfair not to let you get the closing statements because there may have been something that you wanted to say specifically that I didn't give you the opportunity to say.
No, brother, you all have done an excellent job. I said everything that I could say.
Oh,
I've said more than I would have gave myself the opportunity to say. So I thank you. No. Y'all can have the last word. I'm cool.
Okay. I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been too long. And Assalamu alaikum, Baltimore Jones. Yes,
You
sir.
mentioned Willie Wilson. A lot of people don't know he's worth $18 million.
And he's running for mayor.
Yeah. But if he's worth $18 million, he don't need nothing from nobody.
No, you don't. No, you don't. And we need him. He don't need us. And that's the problem. We are a silly people. I'm telling you. Did y'all break it down?
Oh, y'all still talking.